Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into a really practical English lesson that deals with everyday conversational phrases.
Yeah, it's all about those real life moments when you need to speak naturally and smoothly in English.
Exactly. And you know, it's kind of interesting how this lesson uses an everyday scenario to teach phrases like in a bit of a hurry, contact details, and slipped my mind.
Yep, and it all ties back to those awkward but common moments we all experience, right?
Right? So, in the dialogue, we start off with a friendly encounter. Someone is meeting a person they recall from a conference. And then, the twist comes when the person forgets the name. It's a moment we've all been in eventually.
Absolutely. And it's presented in such a natural conversational way, showing real English that's used day to day.
Yeah, it's like they purposely picked a situation that's a bit, well, embarrassing, but totally relatable. Forgetting a name, for instance, is something like, if you're chatting with someone and everything's fine until that awkward moment when your brain just goes blank.
Right. And then they smoothly transition into the lesson, breaking down phrases. I love how they explain in a bit of a hurry. It's so simple. You just say, I'm in a bit of a hurry when you don't have much time.
Exactly. And they provide examples like asking someone, can you drive faster? I'm in a bit of a hurry. It shows practical usage in everyday conversation.
Yep.
It makes the learning process feel really real.
One thing I found interesting is how they incorporate contact details into the conversation. It's not just limited to phone numbers, it includes emails, addresses, even business cards.
Oh, yes. And that's important because when you meet someone, exchanging contact details is crucial. It's the bridge to continue your conversation or business relation, right?
Absolutely. And then there's slipped my mind. I mean, what a polite and light-hearted way to say I forgot. It feels less harsh than just saying I forgot, wouldn't you agree?
Right. It softens the blow. It's like when you forget a birthday or an appointment, you can just say, oh, it completely slipped my mind. Very gentle. It's a subtle way to
Uh-huh.
admit your error without sounding careless.
And speaking of subtle things, the lesson also dives into putting phrases together to sound more fluent, like around here and terrible with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Around here is a great phrase for describing proximity in a casual way. Like saying, is there a cafe around here? Instead of the formal, in this vicinity. It makes conversation smoother.
Yes, and they even illustrate how to use around here in multiple contexts, whether you're asking for directions or referring to an area.
Exactly. It's like building a mental map for your listeners on how to navigate everyday
Right.
English. And the terrible with bit is equally relatable.
Yeah, I mean, many of us say we're terrible with names or directions. The lesson shows that even if you're not perfect, you can laugh it off, which really helps build confidence.
True. It's interesting how they use a mix of humorous anecdotes and clear examples. I mean, one example was how someone admitted they're terrible with names even after hearing it multiple times. Talk about a self-deprecating humor moment.
Exactly. It's like, hey, I know I messed up, but I've been there too. It creates an immediate connection with the learner.
Now, one little thing that always catches my ear is the tip they gave. When you meet someone, repeat their name in conversation. It's like a mini hack for memory. Have
hmm
you tried that before?
I definitely have. It's such a practical tip. But I wonder, don't you think sometimes repetition might feel a bit forced?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, if you're overdoing it, it might come off as awkward. Still, in a casual setting, repeating a name once or twice is natural. Kind of like an echo, you know? It
Yeah, true.
reinforces memory without being too pushy.
Exactly. It's all about the balance. Anyway, the dialogue uses a realistic pacing, even mentioning that it might sound a bit fast at first.
Right? They even say, don't worry if you don't understand everything. After 10 minutes, you'll catch on. It's a nice way to reassure learners that it's okay not to get everything immediately.
And that's very encouraging for language learners. It's like they're saying, hey, stick with us. It all makes sense in time.
Exactly. Plus, by discussing these common scenarios, it helps demystify the formality often found in textbooks. This is language as it's actually used.
And it's not just about vocabulary, it's about culture and context too, right? Like understanding that forgetting a name might be embarrassing, but it's also a natural part of human interaction.
Absolutely. It's like the lesson adds a human touch to learning English. It bridges that gap between textbook language and the language you use at your local coffee shop.
You know, I do have one critique though. Sometimes the pace in such lessons might be too fast for absolute beginners. Even if they say things will become clearer later, it might be a steep learning curve initially.
I get what you're saying. It's a trade-off. A fast pace keeps things engaging, but it might leave some learners a tad confused at first.
Right.
Still, the follow-up slower dialogue helps smooth that out.
True, the repetition, like hearing the dialogue first fast then slower, does help reinforce the phrases and context.
And by the end, you hear repetition of key phrases like, I'm in a bit of a hurry, and contact details, which cements those expressions in your mind.
Right. It's a neat way to connect the dots, and I really appreciate how the lesson doesn't just stop at saying what the phrases mean, it gives real examples.
Exactly. It's not just theory. They show you how to use them in practical scenarios, like asking, can I have your contact details? Or saying, it slipped my mind, when you've actually forgotten something. It makes those phrases much more memorable.
And you know, these are the kinds of everyday phrases that really build up your background fluency. Once you're comfortable with them, it feels like you can handle real-world conversations much better.
For sure. I mean, think about it. If you can handle those small, awkward moments and laugh them off, you're way more likely to become a confident speaker. It's like moving from a textbook to actual live conversation.
Exactly. And that natural confidence is so important in language learning, not to mention, it's fun. The way they incorporate humor and real-life stories really gives you an insight into the culture of everyday communication in English.
Yep. And speaking of fun and authenticity, the entire lesson feels like an invitation to not be afraid of making mistakes. It embraces that moment of forgetting a name as something totally normal.
And that's the key, right? Practical language learning that not only teaches you words, but also builds your confidence to speak in real scenarios.
Exactly. So whether you're rushing because you're in a hurry or scrambling to recall a name that slipped your mind, the lesson reminds you that these moments are part of the learning journey.
Right, and with tips like repetition and practice, you can turn even those moments into opportunities to improve your English skills.
Well said. And as we wrap up, remember, practice those phrases, use them in your daily conversations, and don't be afraid to laugh off any mistakes along the way. That's how you get better.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining in this chat. It's been insightful and fun discussing how everyday language shapes our confidence.
Thank you both for listening and engaging. Keep practicing, stay curious, and we'll catch up next time.
Bye, everyone.